We've just started this episode with a gauntlet throwdown from Brian, a challenge.
Yeah, I'm looking into the camera like dismayed. Like,
I think it's good.
I think it's good, but I don't know what to do.
Well, let's discuss what it's about.
Okay, so we've got do we mention who our interview?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
we need to top now.
We are interviewing on the podcast. In fact, it's not even us. It's Michaela from our customer success team, Project Fashion, one of our long-standing customers based in Ireland, who, funnily enough, from the name, run a fashion school.
And every time in any meeting we've had about this in the last 2 or 3 weeks, every time the word fashion is mentioned, what do I do?
Fashion.
I just think that's
pretty
cool.
But now Brian, because he's the one that's always behind the camera, he's just come up with the idea that we're to design, was it a high-end fashion outfit?
High fashion. Oh, it's really going to be tricky for me. Okay, let's.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm thinking season. We're coming into autumn. Like, that is a big season. It's totally commercialised now. Have you seen things on TikTok?
So mini skirts and crop tops?
No, more like you would wear like a mini skirt, some maybe like knee-length boots. And then like a nice polo neck colour. And then I would probably accessorise mine with this thing that I've seen.
So that was for me.
No, that's me.
But then you went, and I would wear. You kind of went, okay, we're going to put you in a mini skirt and boots.
And boots. And then like a nice kind of black polo top with a blazer on. And then I'm going to go for a nice bag to accessorise, which is this lovely Coach bag. I don't know if that means anything to you, Stephen.
Oh yeah, I totally know what Coach means.
And it's kind of like
it's got wheels.
No, it doesn't. It is a handbag. High-end, like, fashion handbag. And it's kind of like a aubergine kind of nice autumny colour. So that's probably what I would go with.
It sounds like, this was a very, well-timed question from Brian, because it sounds like you already had this entire outfit planned out.
I mean, I've got a lot of it in my...
through.
Yeah, I've got a lot of it in my wardrobe. I just don't have the Coach bag.
Is this on your, what is it, Etsy? What do they call it when you pin stuff? Pinterest, not Etsy.
Yeah. I use Pinterest to plan my outfits.
So
but
I've
seen the bag.
Pretty much what you've described is up there right now.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, cool. Then when it comes to high fashion, I'm not really the man to talk to.
Yeah, okay.
I'm kind of low yields,
You're kind of like a ClassForKids t-shirt and jeans guy.
Yeah. I quite enjoy the fact that we've got branded clothes, because it allows me not to think. Although I'm not wearing branded clothes today.
But you could do something similar to me, because like polo necks are quite. Oh, no, it's not a polo neck. What's it called?
Polo neck.
Polo neck. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of a polo shirt. A polo neck might be quite good for you. Like
no. I bought a polo neck last year. Do you not remember this story? And I went to my wife and I was like, look at the polo neck. And she's like, oh my god, I looked like a turtle. It pushed the entire neck up.
Well,
it was the same time that I bought that thing from my tummy. Remember that?
Yeah.
So for those listening, I bought like this T-shirt. TikTok has got a crime to answer for. A T-shirt that was definitely going to hold in all my belly. The guy in the video was like huge, and he put it on and he was like suddenly tall and slender, and I put it on and it just looked like I'd pulled a pair of tights up over my belly.
Also, like Stephen's always talking about how thick his neck is. Is that what you mean by
like a polo neck? You can't get a polo neck that even
okay, but that's what all the I'm thinking about what people in high-end fashion on a runway, if they were male, would wear. And I mean, other than
it's always silly stuff,
flamboyant, kind of maybe revealing shirts, I feel like a polo neck is quite an autumnal outfit that could be quite classy, and you could have like a nice long coat.
Well, I was going to say the coat I've got down right, but the coat's also is a bit like, if I cut about in those, I'm quite short. I know that with people that have only ever listened probably think I'm about 9 foot, because obviously that's the kind of voice.
Muscular.
I'm about 4'2".
Yeah, well, okay.
And a big long coat just makes me look like I'm either a child that stole his dad's coat, or kind of an inappropriate coat wearer.
Like a flasher.
A flasher. Okay, I'll try to keep that word off this podcast, but yeah, flasher.
Can you bleep that out, Brian?
Yeah. But yeah, so there I am. I'm got my turtleneck on with my big coat that actually goes over my feet.
And preferably some trousers.
Drags behind me, yeah. Oh, I should put some trousers on. What would I wear? Corduroy?
No, not for that, no. I think like a nice pair of like really smart chinos, like navy kind of chinos.
Okay.
Remember, this is high end. Do you know who you could take inspiration from?
Who?
In our office? Melly. He's a good dresser.
Oh, Melly.
Melly's
Everybody's talking about Melly's fashion sense. Well, Melly, if you're listening to this, you are quite fashionable.
Yeah. He's actually going through to Edinburgh on Sunday for a specific perfume. I can't remember the name of the company. They're based in New York, but they do signature scents by city, and only during September.
Hang on. Signature scents by city in September.
Yeah, so signature scents they do normally by cities years round. So for example, like Tokyo has a specific scent, New York will have a specific scent. And then only in September or the weekend that he's going do they open it up worldwide so that you could buy Tokyo and Edinburgh.
I think Brian's going as well. It's the sort of thing that Brian's totally into. He's totally into. He's like, he's fat. He's fashion.
He's fat?
He's
That's a bit harsh.
He's into his scents. He goes all over the country for his scents, don't you, Brian?
Yeah, so Melly is
That's sarcasm.
Melly is probably who you should like look to for inspiration if you had a Pinterest board.
Okay, cool. I think he's inspired by me though. I think he was asking me where I got my shoes and stuff from, and I was at Primark.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe he was taking the mick. Right, we don't know enough about fashion to continue this conversation.
No, but yeah, Michaela's interviewing Paul from Project Fashion
And
and catching up on all things that are happening there.
Let's jump to that interview right now, shall we?
Let's do it.
So let's start off. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself and also about how Project Fashion happened?
Absolutely, yeah. So back in 2000, I graduated from fashion college, and one of the big things that I found in fashion college was that a lot of students on the degree course were not able to sew. So they spent a lot of their time learning how to sew as well as trying to get creative and find themselves as a designer. So that always stuck with me. And then I went on and set my own label up and everything else. And one day, my son plays rugby, so I'm down sat in the cafeteria there and see all these girls sitting around on their laptops waiting for their brothers to finish.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, next week I'm going to bring a couple of sewing machines down, see if they're interested. So brought them down, and they all were swarming on top of them, and that's how we're initiated. We set up a little club there then, and I opened up other venues, and I was running it 5 days a week. And then it started snowballing from there, employing people. And now we employ 50 staff all across the country. And yeah, the whole idea is to teach these kids at a young age a lovely skill set.
Yeah.
Whether they go on to do it professionally or not, it's a great skill set to have, especially with this whole sustainable thing coming on at the moment. But yeah, and then if they do go on to study, they're back to where I was on the course, on the fashion course, on the degree course. They will have the skill set on the degree course, and then they can just focus on being creative rather than learning how to sew.
Amazing.
So that's the plan, you know.
So you mentioned that you've got about 50 staff. How many kids do you think, just a rough estimate, how many kids do you think that you're impacting on a weekly basis or a monthly basis?
Probably about 850 kids across the country.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so we're always looking to open new venues and in different territory. But yeah, it's great. These kids love it. And we put on a big fashion show for them at the end of the year.
Amazing.
And we coincide that with a bit of a charity event as well. So we raise funds for a children's charity.
Yeah.
So it's like kids raising funds for kids, you know. And we call it the Young Designer of the Year Awards.
Okay.
And all the children from all over the country get together and showcase the work that they've been working on all year. Amazing. And we have like celebrities hosting the show, and yeah, it's a proper red carpet event, and the kids are petrified coming out, you know, but it's great. Yeah.
I can imagine. I'd be petrified, let alone back when I was a lot younger. No, that's amazing. And what a skill set to learn. And you've got kids as young as 7 attending these classes as well. So we're starting them really young, bringing them all the way up and setting them up with, really, it's a life skill, essentially. Being able to not only design, be creative, but also mend, the sustainability of it.
That's right.
It's incredible. What an incredible idea that's came from a really random place.
It is. Sometimes they come from, you know, the best ideas come from, you know, something that's really in your face nearly and random. But going back to the kids at 7 years old, one of the big things we focus on is safety to start with. So, you know, even though I know when I first started sewing, you'd be scared of this machine, you know, with the needle going up and down and everything else. But the kids, they come in, we've got guards on them, you know, safety guards, and we teach them how to work safely on it and everything else. So,
amazing.
Yeah, they hit the ground running quite quickly, you know.
I can imagine, especially when they're that age, they're just little sponges, aren't they? And
that's it.
They take it on, you know,
that's
far
one of
quicker.
the things, actually, is we're trying to we're launching adult classes now as well. But the kids, it's like you said, no filter. The ideas are crazy and off the wall, and that's the fun part of it. They're so creative, and it's just great to embrace that,
Yeah.
you know, and the parents love seeing them being creative anyway, but then learning this lovely skill set to go
Yeah.
along with it. It's just a really good, it's a good after school class, you know. I think that's why it's worked, you know.
And if you could give advice to somebody that was in your shoes all those years ago that had an idea and thought, right, okay, I could make this into something, what advice would that be?
Yeah, that's a good question. My gosh, I think if you've got a good idea and you're passionate about it, then you know, see, we started this business from our house,
Yeah.
right? And I literally set it up from the bedroom.
Yeah.
My office table was the ironing board, right? and we slowly built it up from there. And the best advice I could give is to do it one step at a time.
Okay.
Don't try and get there too quickly. We never had to take a loan out. We never had to borrow money. You know, it was one class at a time.
Yeah.
Fill that up, run it successfully, put a lot of energy into running a really good class.
Yeah.
And I think if you run in a good class, the best form of marketing then is people talking about this great class that's going on.
Yeah.
And that's going to kind of help set up the other classes.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're trying to market all across the country, and that's when, you know, the funds come in for a marketing budget.
Yeah.
But I think initially start slow.
Yeah.
And get it right from the beginning, you know.
Of course, because then you can end up somewhere like this
That's
with
it.
the amount of classes and the amount of staff that you've got. So great
know,
advice. No,
yeah,
definitely. That's amazing. And obviously you use ClassForKids for
That's
your
right.
booking.
We do indeed.
And is that something you'd recommend to somebody
That
else?
is one of the things I'd recommend
Okay.
as well, because when we initially started, we would literally have Word documents with all our customers' details on and their telephone
Yeah.
numbers on, and to manage that, it's nearly impossible, you
Yeah.
know, and to have the transactions coming through and everything through the system, and there's so many great things about the ClassForKids that
Yeah.
just takes care of all that, and you can just focus on the classes then,
Yeah.
rather than, you know, focusing on the classes, thinking about all your customers and
Yeah.
have you got all the details, and you know, it's a really good way of communicating to your customers, you know.
Amazing. And I mean, it's great that, because then it means that you can really focus on what's important to you guys, which is providing these sessions,
Yeah.
providing the skill set to these kids and things like that. Amazing.
That's it.
And
I think
really
that's
good.
one of the big differences we found when we got ClassForKids on board, was that it took away the headache of you know, maintaining our customers and communication and everything else. You know, it allowed us, like you said, just
Yeah.
to focus on what we do best, and that's run
Yeah.
the classes, you know.
Yeah. And then obviously with those classes, there's qualifications that come alongside that, isn't there?
That's
Do you want
right.
to tell me a little bit about that and what
Yeah.
people can achieve with
Well, I
Project
think,
Fashion?
you know, for anything you're learning, it's always good to have, you know, where you started, how you're progressing, and where you're going to.
Yeah.
So we set up a certificate-based plan whereby a child starts with us at a real beginner level,
Yeah.
doing simple little tasks, and they get a certificate for that, and they slowly grade up through the certificates
Yeah.
until they graduate from beginner into intermediate.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, you know, having this kind of certificate plan, you know, encourages the kids to want to get the next
Yeah.
certificate,
Yeah.
but also it communicates to the parents
Yeah.
of what they're actually getting out of these
Yeah,
classes.
because it's an investment, isn't
It
it?
is,
Wait,
it is.
Like, I take my little boy to dance. I know that people do football, and that's great. That's good. That's a skill. They really love it. But if you can take your child somewhere that's a social skill, they're meeting friends, but also it's an investment in your child's future, that they're learning these skills that they can take into, you know, adulthood,
That's it.
etc. Then what price can you put on that, really?
A lot of our kids we've been trading now for 10 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of our kids have come from our classes and gone on to the degree courses.
Yeah.
So all this kind of documentation of history of all the work they've achieved, the garments they've made,
Yeah.
the certificates, this all kind of goes towards that big interview of trying to get into college, you know.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's really good in that way that, you know, they have a portfolio nearly before they go along for the interview, you know.
Amazing. So in terms of aspirations of where you're wanting Project Fashion to go, tell me a little bit more about that. What's the plan? What's the big goals?
Yeah, well, you know, we have grown from just running classes to having our own fabric shop.
Yeah.
So that the plan was and is successfully happening at the moment. We listen to our customers, so the customers would say, what kind of fabric do we need and whatnot. So through listening to them, we thought to ourselves, well, let's set up a shop.
Yeah.
So we currently service and provide fabric and sell fabric to our current kids that are in our classes.
Yeah.
But we're trying to open that up now to new markets.
Okay.
So not people that just come to our classes, maybe crafters, maybe college students or designers. And so we source our fabrics from all over Europe and even Japan. We get fabrics in and we get offcuts of some of the designer labels and that sort of thing. So that's something that we're really trying to promote now is that fabric shop. Now we've moved into this fantastic venue.
Yeah.
We are looking to start up adult classes and start pushing that end of things. We also are trying to build relations with colleges and heads of colleges and that, so we can supply not only the fabrics, but try and put on these classes for students that might be struggling with the sewing end on their degree course. So we can put on these kind of classes for students and skilled people. Yeah. And then we're looking at brands that are out there and getting them to come and do talks about their brand, their fashion brand. Yeah. Like there's this really cool denim brand that's set up in Dublin, and it's set up around the Guinness brand, right? Yeah. So they found all the paperwork, all the patterns or something from the 1800s, and they were making all the uniforms and that for Guinness. Yeah. So now they're making these amazing denims. Yeah. And it'd just be great to get brands like that to come up, talk about their story, inspire young designers, and then maybe us run a course off the back of that. That's a jean making class. Yeah,
it's like almost like a collaboration between the two.
Collaborating with brands, but which it'll heighten our profile a little bit.
Well, of course, we know as consumers that when you interact and have a good interaction with a brand from a really young age, you almost grow up with that brand, and that becomes something that's part of your life, as cheesy as that sounds. So that's such a good idea. It really is.
So that's the plan: is to get brands on board. And it's going to inspire all our students seeing these brands and what they do. Yeah. It kind of gives them ideas about the way they were successful, that brand was successful, and maybe realizing what they want to achieve, but applying things from these different brands to inspire them to go and do what they want to do, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah. And then eventually maybe we'll start to export our product and even come over to the UK and wherever else. You never know where they'll take us. You know, we are very ambitious. Yeah. And I think that's going back to, the question you said earlier there about what advice would you give to people starting off. You know, that's one of the things I would say is sorry, I've totally forgotten what I was going to say now. What was I saying?
So you were saying that moving over to the UK, you're looking to like branch out, expand and export.
Oh, it's gone. Sorry.
It's all right. No worries. It'll come back to you. It's fine. I mean, in terms of everything that you're saying, I definitely think that there's a massive gap in the market, especially in the UK, for things like this. I think that's why you've not only had success from the, here, but it's something that I can see a lot of people putting, their kids into and adults into it. It's a real skill. So no, it's amazing.
I think, that kind of whole sustainability thing really goes in our favour at the moment.
Of course.
I think even teaching people how to sew and repair and reinvent and all that kind of thing lends itself to being sustainable anyway.
Of course,
you know?
yeah.
And so, yeah, that's something we'll probably look into in the future as well, is you know, setting up classes based around that, you know.
Yeah. And there's probably a few mums and dads out there that are looking at their curtains thinking, oh no, don't.
That's
Please
it.
don't make yourself a top out of them. So no, amazing.
Exactly, yeah,
and
yeah,
well,
yeah.
they don't need to. You've got your fabric shops for
Well,
the
that's it.
for the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
So no, great. In your own words, how important do you think having this creative outlet is for kids?
Yeah, I think it's really important because not everybody's a sport, you know, into the sport
Yeah.
and everything else. So it does allow creative kids, you know, they might, there's lots of classes out there for drawing and painting and everything else, but, you know, it's a new way of bringing in this creative outlet,
Yeah.
but, you know, it being fashion.
Yeah.
And there is an opportunity to move on and build a career from it, which is
Of
fantastic.
course.
And a lot of kids as well in school, they might not be that academic,
Yeah.
and they, you know, a lot of kids that are dyslexic and that they're
Yeah.
quite creative, and it's an outlet for them to get out of that academic environment in school.
Yeah.
Come and learn. You know, they learn in a different way.
Yeah.
So, you know, this could be the route to their future, really, is by not going that academic route,
Yeah.
but they learn all about fashion and design and garment construction
Yeah.
and pattern cutting and fabrics and colours and,
Yeah.
you know, trends and all this sort of thing. And it is a real career
Yeah.
development thing, you know.
So I just want to thank you for, you know, being on the podcast with us
Yeah.
and for giving us such great insight. I want to wish you all the best of luck with all your future plans.
Thanks a
Obviously,
million.
we've been around for a little bit of that and we're looking forward to being with you, you know, going
Absolutely.
forward into it. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's been
look-
lovely speaking to you.
And yourself, yeah. Look forward to working with you as we grow the business to this
Yeah.
amazing empire.
Yeah.
I'm really worried
What are you worried about?
because other people are quite good at interviewing our customers.
I know this is getting a bit of an issue, isn't it? I mean, we are
Do you know,
very
ever since that Brian came along,
I
he's
know.
just been getting other people to do
finding other
interviews.
talent,
Yeah.
scouting about, asking them to do things instead of us. I mean, it's not like we have the time to do every single bit of it.
Not a massive well done to Michaela, I think.
It
On,
was
I don't know
great.
why I'm pointing to her like she's
She's
there.
like, well done,
If
Michaela.
you're watching
For
it.
those listening, have no idea what we're even doing. We're pointing to an empty seat.
No, Michaela did a fantastic job interviewing Paul from Project Fashion and really digging into what they're doing and why they're so successful.
We've been waiting to go and see them for years, literally years, because they're one of our biggest customers, one of our longest customers,
Yeah.
and it's a very interesting concept. It's not in any of our kind of main verticals, as Miss Marketing here would say.
Yeah.
Verticals being,
Basically different activity types that ClassForKids serves.
and what's our main ones?
Dance, football and gymnastics, performing arts, ball sports.
But not fashion.
Not fashion.
But-
Not fashion. However, you know, we do see this kind of other category that we refer to, and I think, you know, fashion, that the concept of Project Fashion is very unique to ClassForKids, is what I would say, and they're doing something very different, very special. And the fact that they were in a kitchen for the longest period of time, when Brian came back and told me that and sort of listened to the podcast, I was very astonished just how successful they were from a kitchen.
So I don't think there was much else to say about that other than it was a fantastic interview, well conducted by our colleague Michaela, and lots of great takeaways for clubs right across all of our activity types.
I think that's the thing about the podcast. You know, for anybody that is listening that maybe you're thinking, how do I apply tips from a project, from a fashion school, or if I'm a gymnastics club listening to a dance interview, it's never just thinking about that's a dance school, it's not applicable to me. It's about what has that person learned in their journey of business and how do I take those things away and apply it. So, you know, whether they've got something really innovative in customer retention or whether they're talking about how they increase their prices, how they improve the parent booking experience, all of those kind of things. It's just not thinking about it from an activity point of view that's maybe something different. It's more, what are they doing as a business owner that's actually really clever and how could I apply that to my club? Because I think there's so much to learn, because different, you know, types of businesses, whether it's a dance school or a gymnastics club, they'll be doing things so differently, but actually there's so much to learn. In the world of business, we would call that cross-pollination.
Cross-pollination, eh? That's
is
very
cross-pollination.
nice.
And you know, the other thing I love that we are getting out to Ireland to visit more of our customers, because
Yeah.
we've been So loads of places in England, obviously local clubs coming to us in Glasgow and going out to different places in Scotland, but we're really pushing the boundaries in that Ireland space.
The next few months we're going to be over there a lot more as well, and getting into next year we're pretty much moving in.
Yeah.
So we're coming to get you, Ireland.
So if you are listening and you are from Ireland and you think, could Class for Kids come and visit me, do drop us a DM on socials.
And we'll just rock up at your house one day unannounced and with a microphone.
No, but seriously, if you are in Ireland and you think there's an opportunity, we would absolutely love to hear from you and come over and do a visit with you.
We would love to, and we look forward to seeing you soon. And you'll hear us all again soon in the next episode. But for now, we're going to learn how to count. 1.
No, it doesn't start that way.
What does it do?
3, 2, 1, bye.
Oh my God, it's been a bit of time.
I think anyway.
It's been a moment, right? 3,
2,
1.
bye.